So, in the previous lecture, we have seen what is deadlock, the classical problems of synchronization. The classical problem used to test a newly proposed synchronization scheme is bounded buffer problem, readers and writers problem, and dining philosophers problem. So bounded buffer problem, there are n buffer, each can hold one atom. The semaphore mutex is initialized to a value 1. The semaphore full initialized to the value 0. The semaphore empty is initialized to the value n. So there is a producer consumer problem. It is one of the most common problem found in concurrent processing. The two processes share are common fixed size buffer for exchange of information. The producer puts some type of data into the buffer. The consumer takes out data from the buffer. So the problem is producer tries to put a new data in buffer that is already full. So producer should go to sleep. It will be awake by the consumer after consumer has removed one or more data from the buffer. Now consumer tries to remove data from the empty buffer. So consumer should go to sleep. It should awake by the producer after putting some data in the buffer. Now the buffer should be accessed mutually exclusively. That is, only either producer or consumer should access the buffer at any given time. So this solution uses three semaphore: full, empty and mutex. What is full means for counting of filled up slots in the buffer, empty for counting of empty slots in the buffer, and mutex to make sure that both producer and consumer do not access the buffer at the same time. So the full is initially 0, empty is initially equal to the number of slots in the buffer, and mutex is initially 1. The full semaphore ensures that the producer stops running when the buffer is full. The empty semaphore ensures that the consumer stops running when the buffer is empty. Next is reader-service problem. A data set is shared among a number of concurrent processes. Readers, it only read the data set. They do not perform any update. Writers can both read and write. The problem allows multiple readers to read at the same time. So only one single writer can access the shared data at the same time. The several variations of how readers and writers are considered all involve some form of priorities. Share data, data set semaphore is initialized to 1, semaphore mutex initialized to 1, and integer read count is initialized to 0. So it is one of the most common problem found in another famous problem found in concurrent processing is readers writers problem. Here the database applications are very common where many processes try to perform read and write operation. So there are some conditions that should be satisfied. The first one, any number of readers may simultaneously read the database. Second, only one writer is allowed to write the database at any given time. Third, if a writer is writing to a database, then no reader may read it. So solution to this reader writers problem is semaphore mutex is 1, that is it controls the access to the read count. Semaphore db is 1, it controls access to database, and int read count 0, number of processing reading or waiting to read. The semaphore mutex provide mutually exclusive access to variable read count. The semaphore db provide mutually exclusive access to database. The multiple readers are allowed to perform read operation simultaneously. This algorithm gives priority to readers over writers. The first reader entering its critical section has to wait until using the semaphore DB. Subsequent readers simply enter their critical sections after incrementing read count. As the readers leave their critical sections, the decrement read count, the last reader leaving the critical section, signal awaiting writer. So reader writer problem, the structure of the write process is given here. So the structure of reader process is given here. Next is the dining philosopher's problem. The dining philosopher problem can be stated as five philosophers are seated around a round table. Each philosopher has a plate of So, in dining philosopher problem, the philosophers spend their life alternating thinking and eating. So, don't interact with their neighbor. Occasionally, try to pick up two chopsticks to eat from bowl. So, there is no need both to eat, then release both men. So, in the case of five philosophers, it shared a data bowl of rice semaphore initialized to 1. That is, if the five philosophers are seated around a round table and each philosopher has a plate of spaghetti, then there is a fork between every pair of adjacent plate. Then a philosopher needs two forks to eat spaghetti. Then each philosopher alternately eats and thinks. When philosopher gets hungry, he tries to acquire his left and right fork, one at a minute in the other order. If philosopher acquires two forks successfully, he eats for a while, then put down the fork and continues to think. So, the deadlock will arise if each philosopher picks up one fork each and waits for another fork. The deadlock can be avoided by allowing only 4 philosophers in the dining room. With the 4 philosophers, at least one philosopher will have access to the 2 forks. So here the dining philosopher problem algorithm or the structure of philosopher is given here. Weight chopstick, weight I plus 1, signal chopstick I plus 1. So the deadlock handling. It allows at most 4 philosophers to be sitting simultaneously at the table. It allows a philosopher to pick up the fork only if both are available and use an asymmetric solution. An odd numbered philosopher picks up the left chopstick and the right chopstick. Even numbered philosopher picks up the first right and then the left one. So, dealing with deadlock, there are 4 strategies that are for dealing with deadlock are being dealt with in detail. So, first is just ignore the problem altogether. This is the simplest approach. It is also known as the ostrich algorithm. The ostrich algorithm said just stick your head in the sand and pretend there is no problem at all. What is ostrich algorithm? Ostrich algorithm says that just stick your head in the sand and pretend that there is no problem at all. The arguments in the favor of ostrich algorithm are deadlocks occur rarely in a system. Estimation of deadlock involves a large penalty in performance. A system crashed more often due to other reasons, the hardware failure, software failure, and memory overflow. The deadlock avoidance could impose The deadlock avoidance could impose severe restrictions on resources allocation. Many operation systems like Unix simply ignores the problem of deadlock. Next is the deadlock detection and recovery. The presence of cycle in resource graph indicate a deadlock. Any process that is a part of cycle is deadlocked. If no cycle exists, the system is not deadlocked. So consider a system with 7 processes P1 to P7 and 6 resources R1 to R6. The current state of the resource allocation and pending request. So the process P1 holds R1 and needs R2. The process P2 needs R5. Then process P3 needs R2. This is P4 holds R4 and need R2 and R5. So from this cycle it is clear that the process P4, 5 and 7 are deadlocked. The P1, P2, P3, P6 are not deadlocked. So a deadlock detection algorithm will try to find a cycle in the resource graph. The algorithm will terminate under 2 cases. A cycle has been found in a graph. The cycle does not exist in the graph. The algorithm for finding a cycle is being explained below. Put every node of the graph in different set. Then for every edge Ri to Pj, it merges the 2 sets containing Ri and Pj. If any of the set contain a node more than once, then there is a cycle in the graph. Otherwise, there is no cycle in the graph. So the recovery from the deadlock, there are various ways of recovery from the deadlock. These methods include recovery through preemption, recovery through rollback, recovery through killing process. Now the recovery through preemption means to eliminate a deadlock using resource preemption. Some resources may be taken away from its current owner and it can be given to another process. It may require a manual intervention. The recovering through prevention is frequently difficult or impossible. Choosing the process for prevention depends largely on which one have resources that can easily be taken back. Taking a resource from a process is highly dependent on the nature of the resource. Recovery through rollback. Recovery through rollback is dependent on the checkpoint. A checkpointing a process means saving its state in a file so that it can be restarted later. Checkpointing contains the following information: memory image, resource state, CPU register value. In case of deadlock, a needed resource can be freed from a process and the process can be rolled to a nearest checkpoint before allocation of the resource under consideration. In effect, the process it resets to an earlier moment when it did not have the resource, which is now assigned to one of the deadlock processes. Recovery through killing process. A simplest way to break deadlock is to kill a process from the deadlock cycle. After this, other process may be able to continue. If this does not help, it can be repeated until the cycle is broken. Killing of the process should be based on the minimum cost. Many factors may be considered for which process is chosen, including priority of the process, how much the process has executed and how much larger the process will execute to complete, how many and what type of resources the process has used, how many more resources the process need in order to complete. Deadlock avoidance. The deadlock avoidance approach ensures that the deadlock does not arise in a system. There are two approaches to deadlock avoidance. Do not start a process if its demand might lead to deadlock. Do not grant incremental resource request to a process if this allocation might lead to deadlock. Initial Then resource allocation denial. The algorithm of resource allocation is also known as the Banker's algorithm. This algorithm uses the tables such as resource in existence E, resource available A, maximum claim matrix C, current allocation matrix R. This algorithm is based on safe state. The state of the system is simply the current allocation of the resources to a process. A state is said to be a safe state if there is a way to satisfy all requests currently pending by running the process in some order. An unsafe state is a state that is not safe. The Banker's algorithm states that a request should be granted if granting it leads to a safe state. Next is the determination of safe state. The concept of safe state, there are four processes. There are three resources. The total amount of these resources are R1 13 unit, R2 7 unit and R3 10 unit. The maximum need of the each process is shown in the maximum claim matrix. The initial allocation is in allocation matrix. Out of 13 units, R1, 2, 7, 3 and 1 units are allocated to P1, P2, P3 and P4 respectively. So, there are 0 units in R1 for allocation. So, initially available resources are 0, 1 and 1, that is R1, R2 and R3. Now deadlock avoidance using Banker's algorithm. The deadlock avoidance strategy ensures that the system is always in a safe state. When process makes a request for a set of resources, allocation matrix is updated, assuming that the request is granted. Now the system is checked whether it is in safe state. If the system is not found to be in the safe state, then the current allocation is reversed. The process is blocked until it is safe to grant the request. If the system is found to be in safe state, the request for the resources is granted. Then the next is the deadlock prevention. The deadlock avoidance is practically impossible as it requires information about future requests. In real system, future requirements are not known in advance, but the deadlock can be prevented by attacking one of the following conditions. First one, attacking the mutual exclusion condition. Second, attacking the hold and wait condition. Third, attacking the no prevention condition. And fourth one, attacking the circular wait condition. So the first one, attacking the mutual exclusion condition. In this strategy, there is no resources every assigned exclusively to a process. If this is the situation, then we will never have a deadlock. However, allowing two processes to share a resource can lead to chaos. For example, if two processes are allowed to use the printer at the same time, then it will lead to a chaos. The basic idea behind this approach is to avoid assigning a resource to a process when it is not absolutely necessary. Then the attacking the hold and wait condition. We can eliminate deadlock if process holding a resource is never allowed to wait for more resources. One way of meeting this requirement could be that all resources needed for the execution are allocated before starting execution. If one or more resources cannot be allocated, then the process will wait without any allocation. A problem with this approach is that it may not be possible for a process to know its future requirement of resource. Another approach for breaking hold and wait condition could be that a process requesting a resource should first release all the resources held by the process. Next is attacking the no prevention condition. In this approach, resource can be forcibly taken away from the process. If process holds a resource R1 and need another resource R2, if R2 is not available, then resource R1 can be forcibly taken away from the process. And the next one, attacking the circular wait condition. There are two ways of avoiding circular wait condition. If process is entitled for maximum of one resource at a time, then the circular wait condition will never arise. If it needs a second resource, it must release the first one. And the second one, a global numbering can be assigned to a resource and a process is allowed to make a request for the resource in numerical order. So this is all about the deadlock prevention. So this graph shows the resource, and this is a resource allocation graph. There is a set of vertices V and set of edges A. V is partitioned into two types, P and R. P means the set consisting of all processes in a system. R means the set consisting of resource types in the system. Request edge, that is directed edge, and assignment edge. So this is a process resource allocation graph. Process resource type with 4 instances, PI request instances of R, and Pi is holding an instances of Rj. Then the next is example of resource allocation graph. So this shows the resource allocation graph which we have explained earlier.